Hello there. Today we're going to be looking at the long-awaited Transformers Haslab Omega Prime. I am very excited to be looking at this, considering I never got to experience the original. Alright, so looking at this, we got the box here. We're just going to be looking at this real quick. Just some nice artwork on it. Got some nice artwork on the top here. And to just quickly show, you do have just the inside of the box here, which you've probably seen, but there are some little pull tabs on the inside here just to pull out everything for your convenience. And there's 4 of these on the inside, but I've already pulled everything out, and I'm sure you've seen plenty of unboxings. So let's get into the review. Alright, so this is going to be a 3-part video, with the first part being just Optimus here, second part being Ultra Magnus and Blue Bolts, and then the third one being Omega Prime, due to just how much is in this set. The accessories, I'll show off the ones that are relevant to Optimus, but I'll save most of them for the Omega Prime video, since that's when they're more relevant. Alright, so I've never really experienced the full original set before, so this is going to be pretty much my first time actually experiencing the mold, which is why I got this, because I wanted the original for years and just never got around to it. Outside of the one critical issue that everyone is aware of, I would say that this has lived up to my expectations pretty well. I am quite happy with this. Now, getting into this. Obviously, very massive fire truck here. Very solid. Most of this thing is just completely unpainted plastic for the red, but that's fine. Less stuff to chip. Wasn't expecting it to be fully painted. The paint accents that this thing does have, the Cybertron logo here. You got the silver paint up top for the grading detail here. Then you got the silver rims, and then the Autobot logo. And then like some slight accents here, but most of this up here is just for robot mode. Fairly clean underneath, but just what a wonderful fire truck. Got the headlights and license plate. Just beautiful details across this thing. Not too much, but not too little to not make it interesting. And then of course you got the taillights, the license plate. And thankfully this is pretty solid, even though all of this just completely comes apart for the super mode. It's all pretty solid back here. The clear windows are thankfully inserts, so there's no paint here that you have to worry about scratching around them. You got some nice windshield wipers there. And then of course there is storage for Prime's gun. Now, this being a fire truck, you of course expect it to have an actual ladder, which does have a very loud ratchet. Upwards. Of course, this can just do a 360 if you really need it. Just to make things simpler, I'm going to extend it like this, as all good fire trucks need to do. Bucket lowers for you to place the included little bonus figure. And then of course you've got the little nozzles on the end of it, which are on ball joints, interestingly enough, so you can point them whichever way you want. And they fit there. He does include what the original does with these pop-out missiles. Obviously not spring-loaded, but you can remove them to have a missile that, as if you fired them, I guess. The missile itself is 5mm, so you can just put a blast effect in here, or 3mm right on the tip. and they just fold right back. Now, for added functionality on this, well, obviously it don't have any electronics, they did give you a little bonus figure. This Cerebro. This one is just painted, cast in red and black, painted silver on the face and chest, and then the arms are painted red. Now, you can convert them, and this is, interestingly, the Takara variant, with the remolded head here. Getting the standard US Fort Max. There's a comparison between the two heads. As you can see, it is using the Takara head. Now, if you felt like it, you can, of course, just slap this onto Cerebros' body. Now what we need is a Fort Max to go with this. With hopefully the correctly colored body. But that is an option. We did have some nice added functionality with this little guy. They gave him a seat on this, which is nice. He at least has a place to sit to control the ladder. And that's pretty much about as much functionality as you're going to see with this guy. He was kind of just thrown in last minute, but not going to complain. A bonus is a bonus. Now, getting to extras, you do get 2 of these, which are meant to be display stands, but if you take them off, there are these 2 connector pieces, which you can just use to connect the roads and give yourself a nice road for Prime to chill on. Same can be done for Ultra Magnus. It's an option. I personally am never going to use this, but there you go. Alright, getting into transformation here. I'm just going to be using this spudger here. I got it as with a DX9 Blitzwing. It just makes everything easier. I'd recommend getting one. But first things, and I'm not going to be the most detailed transformation here, but I'll just give you a general sense of it. Just want to untab these 2 sections here. Pop this section off. That was just held on by these 5mm ports. You want to open it up like this pretty much, and then you're just going to wiggle it out. Set it aside. Now this does roll by itself, thanks to that wheel. Now before doing anything else, do take this out. There are people that have cracked this just because they didn't remove it during transformation, so don't forget to do that. Now you want to just pop these panels out. Just pull these little silver bits out right here. Take this whole panel, just swing it around, and then bring this down. Swing this around, swing this down. Now here, you want to separate it right here. And of course, because of the issue with the chest, I would highly recommend putting your leverage right here, just so you're putting all the pressure of unfolding this on the joint and not the actual chest piece. Do the same with this, and just carefully unfold it. Now, since I did do the fix that's been going around, mine thankfully isn't cracked here. I had some broken fins on the inside. I will go into more detail on this later, but since mine is fixed, just fold that down. Now, fold this. Can separate this out. Spin these around. Just pry this open, flip out the feet, flip out the heels. pry this open, flip out the feet, flip out the heels. Then just take these, fold them down for now. Split this open. Just pop that open like that. Now for the arms, you just want to take this and it just slides down until it clicks. And then just rotate it around and push it back, and there you go. The fist will come out with that. See if I can get that on this side. Just pull it out like this, click, and then just rotate it around, push up, and then just head back here, open this up, flip out the head, rest it there, flip this back in, flip these up, and then this head is on a rail, which you might have seen right there, and you just take that and push it forward, and there you go. There you have Optimus in his core robot mode. All done. Now to get this out of the way, the elephant in the room, this section. This is by far the biggest point of controversy with this figure. You have the slider joint here, as you can see. Is unfortunately the gray bit on it is too big to fit inside the chest. This is apparently just a thing for all copies. So unfortunately, if you receive it, you'll most likely have to sand it, because otherwise eventually it will most likely put enough pressure to crack this. There might be outliers, but unfortunately that seems to be the case. So I had to sand mine down. Thankfully it arrived without a crack externally, so I just immediately unscrewed it and then just sanded it down. But that was unfortunate and should not be happening on a $250 Haslab. But yeah, hopefully Hasbro fixes it. At the time of this recording, they have not. All they have said is that they are looking into it. Hopefully they provide us with an actual fix, because this is pretty much their own screw up. But at this point, all we can do is wait and hope. But getting into the actual figure itself, this Optimus is great. I love it. This reminds me pretty... I love this. It just reminds me so much of the cartoon that I grew up watching. The aesthetics are slightly different. I mean, they had to bulk up his thighs for the super mode, which is fine. You'll see it's much better for the other two modes. For this mode, it's a bit awkward, but it was a necessary change to make the super modes actually look good. The details on this thing are great. They did not skip out on any section for adding some nice sculpted details here. Even on like the legs, the thighs, even the inner thighs. Some nice sculpted details, nice paint here. And this is pretty well painted, actually. Like the silver and blues here, the red paint over the translucent blue, which is also backed with silver paint. Silver abdomen area. Just the metallic blue, the gunmetal over the hands. The fully metallic blue head with silver and chrome gold eyes. Looks great. Absolutely love it. Accessory wise, you only just have the gun. You can of course just slap it in here. Quality of this thing is pretty good. I'm not gonna get a pencil and start tapping this to prove anything. The quality itself is fine. I would say it's just pretty much like any other Hasbro figure. It is slightly lighter than you would expect for how large this is, because this is a fairly sizable figure. The only section that feels slightly off is, funny enough, the section that's breaking on everyone. So Yeah, that's unfortunate, but the rest of it actually feels like pretty solid plastic. Like some of these are like thin, but it's by no means cheap feeling plastic. It's pretty sturdy and solid. The backpack here is fine. It's nothing bad. The old one used to have electronics. This one doesn't, just for functionality. It's necessary. It's part of the design. This stuff unfortunately hinders some of the waist rotation, but it's necessary engineering for the super mode. The only other problem I have with this really is just these like to fall off pretty easily because they're on fairly shallow pegs, as you can see. They're not that deep, so for example this will just fall right off. I kind of wish that was pinned, but for whatever reason they're on 5mm ports. Now getting into size comparisons here, we have just a quick comparison with new Age of the Primes Voyager, just average generations Voyager pretty much. As you can see, he's much larger. Here he is with a average masterpiece scaled Optimus. This is specifically Magic Square's MS-01. As you can see, he's slightly shorter than an MP Prime, but he's pretty darn close already, so this set is funny enough pretty close to masterpiece scale, thanks to how large they blew it up to. I am perfectly fine with that, considering how much money this was. I'm sure some people will have problems with it, considering it's not in scale with these. Personally, I'm going to be using it as kind of a stand-in masterpiece. Now, getting into posability on this guy, you have pretty much the standard range. You got nice side to side. Can of course pose his ears here. His head is on a ball joint, so you got all that nice motion there. You can look up slightly. You can cheat it with this, but I mean, then he just gets decapitated. You can look down slightly. The shoulders have two joints technically. This joint, use at your own risk because it'll go up to here and then get caught right here. And you can technically force it past it, but I wouldn't recommend it because it makes a bit of a creaking sound. You got a ratcheting joint for the actual outward movement to 90. You got the rotation right above the elbow. The elbow does go to 90. And then the wrist does swivel. You got a little bit of a waist rotation, obviously just getting caught up on this backpack. Now, you can get, thanks to the transformation, a ab crunch. Naturally, like around there, and then if you keep extending it, you can get a pretty deep ab crunch there. Obviously with the recommendation of fixing it before you actually try that. One other issue that I have seen is that some copies have a bit of a like misassembly error with the ratchet here. Mostly just, if you have the issue, it's most likely just all you would need to do is unscrew it and then just fit it in properly. It's not actually broken, thankfully. That's a mileage may vary case. A lot of people don't have that problem. Mine, on this side, still ratchets, but it just has a bit of a wiggle room. Compared to this one, which is very solid, to 90. Now there is a thigh swivel right here. And then you also get a below the knee swivel, which in tandem can get slightly annoying, but it's fine. Almost to 90 degrees on the knee. And then you just got a ball joint on the foot, which acts as the rocker and tilt. Now personally, I would have preferred if they put a pin through this so that it was a normal joint and had more range. But I am going to imagine that they've had to do this due to stability for the combined mode, probably not wanting it to move too much. Overall, I would say this is a pretty darn good figure on his own. Now, you can, of course, build the base mode. This Prime is known for. Slap this on. Furl. Pop this up. Hands down. And move this forwards. And of course, just the 4 ports. Go onto the 4 posts. Head down like that. And then you just take these, and then just making sure the Autobot symbol is facing down. You just want to take this port and then just plug it into this post right here. Same on this side. Like that. And then of course, ring this up and just unfurl these little bits on the side. And there you go. You have the lovely little extra base mode, which barely fits on screen. There you go. You can have Optimus just chilling with his base mode. But there is, of course, the super mode to deal with. So let's get into that. Now, getting into the actual combination here. You want to, of course, take these parts here. Split them apart. Get into the section here with all this. Want to be careful with the chrome, of course, but you want to just start untabbing these little bits here and here so that you can just slide them off. Then this whole section will pop off, and then you can just wiggle it off from here. Split these, and there you go. You have all this. And on a quick side note, these you can quickly just flip these out, fold in the wheels. You can use these as rocket launchers for Optimus. Let's quickly do that with both. You can give him shoulder missiles if you would like. That is a feature. Forgot to mention that. It's not, the gun is not his only weaponry. You do want to fold these down for the actual combination here. Alright, you're gonna have to take his torso here, lift it up on the spine. Then you're gonna have to come around here to this section. You're gonna untab the backpack, bring down these bits. You're just gonna have them slide around this, right underneath it, like that. Then you're gonna wanna push this in. Of course, it's always sketchy putting any amount of pressure here, but you will have to. And bring this down again. Now that he's got his nice extended torso, I'm gonna shimmy his shoulders outwards like this, so he's got his nice Dorito shape. Now come back to these. Gonna want to just pull this open like this. Pull these panels out. This, that, and then making sure the heels are folded in. These platforms will just simply hook on right here around his legs on the sides, and then this post will go into these ports. And there is a very, very shallow 5mm port that will just go around the screw hole. It doesn't really do much other than just help line up the foot. Once that's in, just plug that in, and you have the foot attached. That. There you go. Now next you can take his arms here, fillet them out, and of course right and left will go on the correct hands. These 5mm ports will go around these posts, and you do want these panels in the downward position. Port these around here. Just wrap it around and it'll clip together. And they got this nice panel to cover the inside. There you go. You just spread it around like this. Like this. Spread it around like that. And there you go. Then you'll take these pieces, which are pretty much identical. Choose how you want the Autobot logo. And then that will just simply go on the 5mm post here. Clip on around the shoulder. And then of course you do want to, importantly, fold the head back in here, which I forgot to do. Now, coming to this part, you have a few options of how to display this. I'll just go by what they tell you to do. Ratchet that all the way back like this. Then you're going to want to bring these down, fold out the hip skirt, and you're pretty much just going to take those, just line them up, and then this gray section will tab into these two holes right here to secure the whole torso together. Then just slide that down, give it a push. There you go. And then you're going to want to just crack this open. Now the position of the ladder depends completely on you. You can rotate it in whichever side you want. You can of course fold this bucket up now, so that it's not touching the floor. But there you have Optimus Prime in his armored up super mode. As you can see, this guy is just pretty darn like spot on to the original. Here you can see the obvious need for those thicker thighs because of just much better proportions with him. But man, this is just impressive. Getting into the details here, as you can see, there's the lovely painted chest, the lovely grating detail here, pipes, the orange belt almost, chrome Autobot symbol, which is very nice. Seeing chrome on a modern Transformer again, that's very nice, outside of Masterpiece. You got this lovely detail of just clear plastic in between the hinge. It's an insert, so thankfully the hinge itself is not just clear plastic. Got all this nice lovely silver paint around here. Just a lovely contrast against the gray here on the crotch. The gunmetal, of course. Of course, most of this again just unpainted red plastic. That's completely fine. Got the lovely nice metallic blue that was used on the core robot. Nice silver, of course the Autobot symbols up here. You got the little guns on the sides here. Then you got the hands. Pretty well detailed. You got the lovely paint carried over here from the core robot. You got the silver paint here around the gray plastic. And then you've got just some nice silver grating detail here on the toes. And then of course carried over you got the missile details with the gunmetal and then the silver. And then just the outside is plastic. Of course this will shift around occasionally. And then I mean there's not really much of a backpack outside of the ladder. That's just part of the design. And this does stand pretty well on his own. You have to pretty much just intentionally knock him over. Despite not having like massive heels, he does stand pretty well just on his own. Now getting in here on the head, there is some absolutely lovely chrome on here, which these do come detached, by the way. They're just on these ports. They just plug in. They come separately in the package to not get scratched. Then obviously lovely silver painted all over the place. And you get lovely chrome gold eyes, which reflect the light very nicely. And then you also do get matrix chamber. You can just flip up, and there you will see little matrix in there, just hidden away. And you can, of course, get it out if you absolutely want to. Got some nice silver paint on the inside with some nice details. And of course, there's the matrix. It's made out of some translucent plastic, some translucent green plastic, and then just painted with a light coating of gunmetal. Just slide it back in there. Then there is the nice targeting detail on the inside there as well. Going into articulation here, the head is on a ball joint, so you can just go all over the place with this thing. The shoulders are just the same as the core prime, so not much has changed there other than just armor limitations, which not all that limited. And these even get out of the way if you wish to use the secondary joint. And then of course just the usual same amount of articulation here, but you then get the hands, which are different, which have a hinge right here for the fingers, then a palm joint in case you just want a limp wrist, and then the thumb is on a hinge joint, which isn't too useful for posing, but it can help to make his hands look more natural. He can't really form a fist, unfortunately. That's one issue. I would have loved to have some hands that are better for doing a fist. Now getting into the waist. The waist is more free than the core robot because you no longer have the backpack blocking it here. Now, thanks to how this hinges up, you still have access to the ab crunch. Even in this mode, you can get a very nice ab crunch going. And then same goes for moving it out of the way for the legs. And get the nice kick. Knees are the same. And then for the feet, you have an actual dedicated ankle joint. There's no up or down, and then the toes can bend. And then there is an upwards joint if you ever need that. Now going into other features that this guy has, you can of course get this ladder positioned over his shoulder. Oh, it's a very loud ratchet. Flip this up. Have him just hold it over his shoulder like this. So you can see the ratchets do a very good job supporting the insane amount of weight this guy has with this ladder. And you can just flip out the weapons here. These out, this out, and this out. There you go. It's got his cannon and missile mode. And you can store the smaller prime's weapon on his back, so it's safely stored away and you don't have to deal with it. It does not have a peg on here, fortunately. Apparently the original might have had a slot from what I've seen there, but yeah, this one doesn't have that. And for one last feature, You can, of course, bring back the road plate here. You can bring in this, which is also included. And you can just slide this on in to the rail here. And then you can just take this, where he has a 5mm port on his rear here, and you can just take that and plug it in right here on this post. Slide it on in there, and it will conveniently align right along with it. And you will now have him attached to a stand. Very nice, stable base in case you're concerned about possibly falling off a shelf. There you go. No concerns. All of the weight is being held by the stand. It's a nice, secure option. You don't have to worry about it. And if you want him for whatever reason to be in the air, there is this piece that they have, which is duplicated between both stands. You do get two of these. This I personally wouldn't recommend doing much, but you can plug him in there. If you want him to be in the air, I don't personally recommend it because it's a one post hole that's not all that deep holding the entire figure like this, but it should be good for a photo or two. Now for some size comparisons, I am going to bring out a very old Scourge here that is going to struggle to stand due to his old age, but there you go. He's pretty tiny compared to this. I'm personally going to probably try and get another version of Scourge. And then of course here he is with the Age of the Primes Prima. As you can see, just absolutely dwarfed by this guy. And then you have an average Masterpiece Optimus. This pretty much is why I would just say that he's pretty much a masterpiece at this point. I mean, just he's got enough like paint details all over the place, like chrome and just size and overall refinement, that I'm pretty much just going to consider this a masterpiece. I mean, this is just nice and hefty. But yeah, that should cover everything with this guy. Should have covered everything pretty much. This thing is just absolutely just full of features. This figure is just lovely. I absolutely love it. It was a blast finally having this design in my hands. Wanted this for years, and to finally own it in hand, even with the obvious issue that, trust me, I am not happy with at all, which I'm hoping they fix. Even with that, I am just ecstatic to finally have this thing in hand and just finally experience the RAD version of Optimus. And the fact that it's essentially just the old toy but improved without electronics and like refined engineering is just amazing. It's close enough that I'm sure plenty of people with the original probably didn't go for this. I never got the original, so I was absolutely happy with this. Just overall very happy. Now in the next video we're going to be looking at Ultra Magnus and Blue Bolts. But thank you for watching, and stay tuned. Please feel free to comment if you want. Feel free to drop a like and follow me for hopefully more Transformer reviews similar to this one. And please feel free to check out my Instagram, where I post pictures of figures often before I will review them. Thank you for watching, and see ya.